ACNOS tutorials. In this training video, I'll be giving you a brief overview of the Department of Defense acquisition process. This video will cover the basics of the acquisition process, its guiding principles, its phases and milestones, acquisition categories, and main regulations. The Defense Acquisition System is made up of 3 individual processes. These individual processes are the acquisition process, the Joint Capabilities Integration and Development System process, or what we call the JCIDS process, and the Program Planning, Budget, and Execution process, or called the PPB process. The JCID process identifies capabilities that are required by the DoD to carry out its mission. It's focused on determining the needs of the military and developing requirements to satisfy those needs, requirements that will be executed by the acquisition process. The PPB&E process is focused on the financial management and resource allocation for current and future DoD program. It's basically the funding process for any acquisition program in the DoD. The third and final process is the acquisition process. The acquisition process focuses on the actual management of a DoD program, particularly cost schedule performance, and this is the focus of this video. Each of these 3 processes make up the DoD Defense Acquisition System. However, these are not standalone processes, but they're integrated. Each process is vital to the successful execution of the other processes and any DoD program. The acquisition process is governed by the DoD 5000 series. There are 2 main documents that are followed: DoD Directive 5001 and DoD Instruction 5002. These documents are the linchpin and the foundation of the acquisition process and have to be known by every program manager. The acquisition process is what the DoD calls an event-based process. An event-based process where an acquisition program goes through a series of phases, milestones, and reviews from beginning to end. The management technique that is used to execute the acquisition process is called the Integrated Product and Process Development, or called IPPD. The goal of IPPD is to simultaneously integrate all essential acquisition activities to include the JCIDS and the PPB process together. Oversight for the entire process is provided by the Milestone Decision Authority, or the MDA. The MDA is appointed by senior leadership and has control over an entire acquisition program. The MDA seeks advice from the Defense Acquisition Board, which is chaired by the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Logistics. Here you see the actual phases, milestones, and reviews of the acquisition process. The top figure is the most commonly graphical layout used by the DoD to depict the acquisition process. The process starts on the left-hand side and works its way through a series of 5 phases until the end. The 5 main phases that are accomplished during the acquisition process are the Material Solution Analysis phase, the Technology Maturation and Risk Reduction phase, the Engineering, Manufacturing, and Development phase, the Production and Deployment phase, and finally, the Operations and Support phase. Each of these phases is detailed in acnos.com and other videos. Along with these phases, the acquisition process includes a series of 3 milestones. Milestones are a point in time where a recommendation is made by the Milestone Decision Authority about starting or continuing an acquisition program into the next phase. Along with phases and milestones, there are a number of major acquisition reviews that take place. These reviews address singular topics within the acquisition process. A few of these reviews include the Preliminary Design Review, Critical Design Review, and Production Readiness Review. All these reviews must be accomplished during the acquisition process for a program to move forward. There are a number of overarching activities that are conducted in the acquisition process. The activities listed below represent the major ones that are addressed in the Defense Acquisition Guidebook. These activities are setting program goals and objectives, analyzing program affordability and resources, analyzing lifecycle logistics, conducting system engineering activities, integrating human systems into a program, understanding intelligence and security support, conducting testing and evaluation, and the career discipline that manages all these activities, program management. These activities form the disciplines that are needed to execute the acquisition process. Each acquisition program falls into an acquisition category, or ACAT. The level of funding, oversight, and program importance will dictate the ACAT level. There are 4 ACAT levels. ACAT 1 programs have a research and development cost of more than $480 million and a total procurement cost of $2.79 billion. An ACAT 2 program has a research and development cost of more than $185 million and a total procurement cost of $835 million. ACAT 3 programs are less than ACAT 2. ACAT 4 is a special category meant for the Navy and the Marines. Our final slide today lists the 3 main documents that are used during the acquisition process. The overarching document is DoD Directive 5001, titled the Defense Acquisition System. It provides management principles and mandatory policies and procedures for all acquisition programs. The next document is DoD Instruction 5002, titled Operations of the Defense Acquisition System. This instruction establishes the management framework for all acquisition program. It basically tells the reader what needs to be done in order to execute an acquisition program. The final document is the Defense Acquisition Guidebook, or called the DAG. The DAG is an 800-plus page document that details the entire acquisition process from start to finish. It goes through each of the main activities in detail that we discussed earlier. This should be the main reference document for any program manager. All these documents can be found in the reference section of acnotes.com. Well, that concludes this very brief tutorial on the acquisition process. Check out the other videos for more detail on specific areas of interest you may have. I hope you found it very informative and worth your time. For more information, please visit ActNotes and tell your friends. Thank you very much and have a nice day.